Assalamu alaikum. I am Professor Shamsul Jaman, Professor of Pathology. I welcome all in today's 28th lecture on pathology. Today, day 2 of thrombus and thrombosis. Dear audience, today's topic is fate of thrombus and deep vein thrombosis. DVT. In the last lecture, I have told you about the definition of thrombus and thrombosis, varicose tract for thrombosis, different types of thrombus, and steps of thrombogenesis. Today, first come to fate of thrombus. Dear audience, suppose this is a blood vessel and blood running like this, and suppose this is the thrombus within the blood vessel. This is thrombus. What may be the fate of this thrombus? This thrombus may remain attached within the vascular wall, or it may be detached from the site of origin. So this thrombus may be detached or may remain attached. Now come to detachment of thrombus first. Detachment of thrombus from site of origin. If this is vein, suppose if blood flows like this, and if this is vein, and if this is thrombus, and this thrombus is detached from this site of origin. After detachment of thrombus from site of origin, from the vein carries by blood first in heart, then from heart to lung, and in the lung the thrombus is impacted and it is called pulmonary embolism. Again, if from the venous side the thrombus is detached, this thrombus is carried by blood in the heart, and from the heart it enters into the lung, and within the lung it is impacted and leads to pulmonary embolism. So this is the fate of detached thrombus from vein. If thrombus is detached from an artery, what will happen? If a thrombus is detached from an artery, what will happen? Suppose this is an artery, blood flows like this, and these are the branches of artery. If this is a thrombus, and if this thrombus is detached from this arterial origin, it will carried by the blood and ultimately a small blood vessel, and it will be impacted here. After infection in this small artery, the tissue will not get any blood and the tissue undergo ischemic necrosis. What will happen after detachment from the artery? Thrombus occludes a small artery and leads to ischemic necrosis. And this area of ischemic necrosis is known as infarct. So again, if from the venous side thrombus is detached, it will lead to pulmonary embolism. If from the arterial side thrombus is detached, it will lead to infarct. Now come to attached thrombus. Suppose this is the blood vessel, the endothelial lining. If within the blood vessel there is thrombus, and if this thrombus is not detached from the site of origin, what will be the fate of that attached thrombus? So fate of attached thrombus. First one is lysis of thrombus by fibrinolysin. Fibrinolysin comes here and this fibrinolysin causes lysis of this thrombus, and ultimately there is been no thrombus, and this is called lysis of thrombus by fibrinolysin. Usually if the thrombus is small one, there will be lysis of this thrombus by fibrinolysin. Another fate is propagation. Propagation of thrombus. Suppose this is artery or vein. If this is a thrombus, a small one, this thrombus may propagate. So propagation of thrombus means size of thrombus is increased gradually. So propagation of thrombus means the size of thrombus is increased gradually, and ultimately it occludes the blood vessel, and ultimately occludes the vessel. So this thrombus is increased in size gradually, and ultimately it occludes the blood vessel. This is occlusive thrombus due to propagation of the thrombus. Again, after forming a thrombus, it may propagate without occluding the blood vessel. Suppose this is blood vessel, blood flows like this, and this is a thrombus. This thrombus may propagate without occluding the vessel. So the thrombus may propagate like this, and this is called propagating thrombus, and it has got tail, and the tail may be fragmented. This tail may be fragmented, the fragmented part of the propagating thrombus, and it is carried by blood, ultimately leads to thromboembolism. Number 3, recanalization. Recanalization of thrombus. What it means? Suppose this is the blood vessel, blood flows like this, and this is the occlusive thrombus. This is occlusive thrombus. In this situation, canal may be developed within the thrombus like this, and through this canal, blood can flow. Blood can flow. This is called recanalization. Another fate of thrombus is organization. Organization of thrombus. What it means? Suppose this is blood vessel, this is endothelial lining, and suppose this is a thrombus within this blood vessel and it remains attached with the blood vessel. It is neither propagating nor being lysed nor being recanalized. Rather, it undergo organization. What it means? Due to presence of thrombus within the blood vessel wall for a long time, there will be inflammation. And as the inflammation lasts for many hours, it is chronic inflammation. Dear audience, you know, inflammation means reaction of vascular living tissue to local injurious agent, provided the injurious agent does not destroy the tissue. So if the thrombus remain attached for a long time with the vascular wall, you know vascular wall is vascular living tissue, so it will react and there will be chronic inflammation. So chronic inflammation in vascular wall due to presence of thrombus. And you know chronic inflammation is associated with fibrosis. So there will be fibrosis. And you know where there is fibrosis, the tissue is contracted. As there will be fibrosis within the thrombus will be contracted. Contraction of thrombus. So the size of thrombus will be reduced due to contraction. Size is reduced. After then, the endothelial covers this fibrous thrombus, and the thrombus now become the part of vascular wall. This is called organization of thrombus. Another fate of attached thrombus may be pathologic calcification. Dear audience, you know, in our teeth and bone there is deposition of calcium, and no other tissue where there is deposition of calcium in physiological condition. So if there is deposition of calcium and other minerals in tissue other than bone and teeth, this is called pathologic calcification. Suppose again this is the blood vessel and this is the thrombus. If calcification occurs here, pathologic calcification occurs here, what will happen? This part of arterial wall will be thickened and there will be hardening of the vascular wall. If there is thickening and hardening of the vascular wall due to pathologic calcification in the thrombus, there will be loss of elasticity of the blood vessel. So these are the different fate of thrombus. The thrombus may be detached from the site of origin or may remain attached. Now come to clinical presentations of thrombosis. The clinical clinical presentations of thrombosis may be pulmonary thrombosis, deep vein thrombosis, cerebral thrombosis, etc. So pulmonary thrombosis, deep vein thrombosis, cerebral thrombosis, these are the clinical presentations of thrombosis. Now come to deep vein thrombosis, it is DVT. Dear audience, what do we mean about deep vein thrombosis? Formation of thrombus or thrombosis in formation of thrombus or thrombosis in deep veins of leg is known as DVT. Again, formation of thrombus or thrombosis in deep veins of leg is known as deep vein thrombosis, and it is important presentation of venous thromboembolic disease. It is important presentation of venous thromboembolic disease, VTE, venous thromboembolic disease. Dear audience, now come to what are the veins in the leg where there is deep vein thrombosis. Veins in leg where there is deep vein thrombosis. One is gastrocnemius vein, popliteal vein, femoral vein. These are the veins of leg where there is chance of DVT. Dear audience, suppose this is deep vein of leg. Deep vein of leg. Now come to what are the predisposing factors of DVT. Predisposing factors. Increasing age, obesity, varicose veins, immobilization, like prolonged bed rest. Pregnancy, long journey, carcinomatosis, major surgery, increasing age, obesity, varicose veins, immobilization like prolonged bed rest, pregnancy, long journey, carcinomatosis, major surgery, polycythemia, nephrotic syndrome. These are the predisposing factors of deep vein thrombosis. Dear audience, now come to increasing age. You know, with increasing age, there is chance of development of atherosclerosis. If there is atherosclerosis, there will be loss of elasticity of the blood vessel and there will be sluggish flow of blood. And if there is sluggish flow of blood, there will be chance of platelet aggregation and there will be chance of concentration of clotting factors in blood, and it will lead to thrombus formation in the deep veins. Obesity. Dear audience, you know, in obesity there is hypercholesterolemia, and you also know hypercholesterolemia is one of the cause of endothelial injury, and endothelial injury one of the important part of varicose steroid associated with thrombosis. Varicose vein. So audience, you know varicose vein like this. If varicose veins in the leg, what will happen? The blood flows like this. There will be sluggish flow of blood. Due to varicosities, there will be sluggish flow of blood. There will be stasis of blood in the vein, and due to stasis of blood vein, this is nothing but turbulence of blood flow. And you know turbulence of blood flow is associated with thrombosis. And at the same time, there will be sluggish flow of blood, and due to sluggish flow of blood, there will be chance of platelet aggregation, and there will be chance of concentration of clotting factors that will lead to thrombus. Immobilization. Like prolonged bed rest. If anybody is with prolonged bed rest, what will happen? Due to prolonged bed rest, there will be sluggish flow of blood. Due to sluggish flow of blood through the vessels, what will happen? There will be chance of platelet aggregation, there will be chance of concentration of the clotting factors, and there will be less bringing of inhibitor of coagulation factors at the vessel due to sluggish flow of blood. So there is chance of development of thrombus. Pregnancy. During pregnancy, due to gravid uterus, what will happen? There will be diminished flow of blood from the veins to go up. So there will be stasis of blood in the lower extremities, and due to stasis of blood or due to sluggish flow of blood in the lower extremities, there will be chance of platelet aggregation and concentration of clotting factors that will lead to DVT. Long journey. Long journey by car or by bus, there will be stasis of blood in the leg, and it will lead to thrombus formation. Carcinomatosis. Dear audience, you know Malignancy may metastasize through the blood vessels, lymphatics, etc., etc. If anybody suffers from carcinoma and if there is metastasis via the blood vessels, the malignant cells or cancer cells secretes procoagulant, and the procoagulant secreted by the cancer cell may lead to thrombosis and may lead to deep vein thrombosis. Major surgery. Dear audience, you know major surgery is associated with tissue injury, and tissue injury is one of the cause of hypercoagulability of blood. So following major surgery, as there is tissue injury, there is chance of hypercoagulability of blood, and due to hypercoagulability of blood, there is chance of development of DVT. Polycythemia. Dear audience, you know increased number of RBC, WBC and platelet in blood is called polycythemia. And you also know due to increased number of all form elements, the viscosity of blood is increased. Due to increased viscosity of blood following polycythemia, there will be sluggish flow of blood. And due to sluggish flow of blood, there is chance of platelet aggregation, or there is chance of concentration of the clotting factors, so it may lead to DVT. In nephrotic syndrome, there is chance of hypercoagulability of blood. So these are the predisposing factors of deep vein thrombosis. Now come to presentation of DVT. If anybody suffers from DVT, what may be the presentations? Dear audience, DVT typically unilateral. DVT is typically unilateral, and the presentations may be pain, swelling, increased temperature, pain, swelling, increased temperature, dilatation of superficial veins. These are the important clinical presentations of DVT: pain, swelling, increased temperature, dilatation of superficial veins. Dear audience, now come to how DVT can be prevented. Prevention of DVT. Intake of a lot of fluid. Wearing of loose fitting clothing. Intake of a lot of fluid, wearing of loose fitting clothing. Work and stretching at regular interval. So work and stretching at regular interval. Suppose anybody is in journey with car, he or she should stop the journey at a regular interval, and he or she should walk and stretch the leg. This can prevent the deep vein thrombosis. Dear audience, we can diagnose deep vein thrombosis in laboratory by duplex ultrasonography. Duplex ultrasonography can detect the thrombus in the deep vein. Dear audience, this is all about the fate of thrombus and DVT. I have told you, if the thrombus remain attached, there will be lysis, propagation, calcification, decanalization, and there may be organization. If the thrombus is detached from the venous side, may lead to pulmonary embolism. If detached from the arterial side, may lead to ischemic necrosis. Clinical presentations of thrombosis. I have told you pulmonary thrombosis, cerebral thrombosis, deep vein thrombosis. And I have told you deep vein thrombosis, thrombus formation in the veins of leg like gastrocnemius vein, popliteal vein, femoral vein. A lot of predisposing factors of DVT: increasing age, obesity, immobilization, pregnancy, polycythemia, major surgery, carcinomatosis, nephrotic syndrome, etc. And I have told you DVT is one of the important presentation of venous thromboembolic disease. How we can prevent DVT? Intake of a lot of fluid, wearing of loose fitting clothing, walk and stretching at regular interval. We can diagnose in laboratory by duplex ultrasonography, and we can treat DVT by using tablet of anticoagulant like warfarin. Today up to this, thanks all.